Guide to the daily chants. Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya. This is the homage, the Mangala Charana. It's the very first sentence in the daily chants, and it is a homage to Manjushri, who is the Bodhisattva, or in some contexts we even regard him as a Buddha, most associated with learning and wisdom. That is why we have this. I will start by offering some general guidelines on how to chant Sanskrit. They apply to these daily chants, but they also apply more broadly to how we learn Sanskrit. In the process of learning Sanskrit, chanting is crucial. Sanskrit and related languages such as Pali, Apabhramsha are closely linked to learning by hearing, and the real letters are regarded as the sounds, not the written letters. The written letters are regarded as representations of the sounds. It's not the other way around. When we pronounce Sanskrit, that is, so to speak, the real Sanskrit. When we read Sanskrit, that is its representation. And in fact, there are hundreds of Sanskrit scripts. There is no such a thing as the Sanskrit script. Now, Devanagari is very popular in South Asia due to recent history, and Roman script is also used, also due to relatively recent history. But these are by no means the only two scripts that have been used or can be used in order to represent Sanskrit. There are hundreds of scripts. So this is an important point. We should not associate Sanskrit primarily with its written form, but rather understand it primarily as sounds. Thus, developing a daily habit of chanting is very, very important, and it is important also due to the role of memory in this type of tradition. So knowing quite a bit by heart is extremely helpful, starting from the alphabet, of course. Now, for that purpose, it is best to develop a consistent habit. Set aside a certain number of minutes. It might be 5 or 10 or more according to your lifestyle and how much time you actually have. But those 5 or 10 minutes or 15, whatever it is, never skip them. This has a great impact, a profound impact over months and years. It really changes your learning. It's one of the best learning habits that you can acquire. When you chant, do not chant numerous times a very short line. So do not chant Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya, Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya, Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya. You can do that every now and then just to clarify the pronunciation of a specific word or line. But as a daily habit, make sure that you go through a good amount of text, such as the entirety of these daily chants. So you go through the whole thing. If possible, commit to chanting them at least a certain number of times. So you could say, okay, I am definitely going to go through these daily chants 70 times, 140, 210, 350. If you do them 350 times, you will know them. You don't need and you shouldn't aim at memorizing. Try to memorize. Constantly check whether you know them by heart. Aim at a high number of recitations. That's what you should do. In order to achieve that, you should sometimes chant slowly, just to clarify your pronunciation. Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya A, I, O, etc. And then chant many times as quickly as you can. Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya I, O. Now, This very fast chant is what helps you memorize actually. So you go through it sometimes by chanting along the recordings, but you should also read through it, not in your mind. You should still articulate, even if not so clearly and carefully, but you should still articulate as fast as you can many times, and in that way you accumulate a good number of chants. So that is a rather helpful principle which will help you retain these chants over a very long period of time. So you develop also long-term memory by choosing to chant a significant amount of text. So that is another important principle that I really, really recommend. Now, of course, in the beginning, your pronunciation is going to be a struggle, but it's not something that one should obsess about, because anyone can improve the pronunciation. No one has a perfect pronunciation. And pronunciation is a matter of habit. So don't worry too much if in the beginning you cannot reproduce some of the sounds that you hear, or if in the beginning you are not even able to distinguish between, let's say, voiced and unvoiced, etc. But one point of pronunciation which I recommend you to pay a lot of attention from the very beginning is the distinction between short and long vowels. So, a, I, I. This is very important because it determines the rhythm of your chanting, and it will determine whether you are chanting verses with the proper meter or not. Therefore, in the beginning, you may even want to overdo it a bit. In fact, if you're not used to this distinction, it might often feel to you like you're overdoing it even when you're not. So even if it sounds a bit funny to you how you are pronouncing, make sure that you pronounce short vowels as short and long vowels as long. Now, these are some general guidelines, and out of all of these, I think the main one is consistency. Make sure that you chant every day, even if it is for a short time. Don't skip those 5-10 minutes. Now let us move to the specific parts of these chants. The first one is Namo Manjushri Kumara Bhutaya. This, as I have explained, is the auspicious beginning, and it is homage to Manjushri. Then we have the alphabet. The alphabet starts with the vowels a, I, I, U, R, R, L, L, E, I, O, Au, Am, Ha. And we will go through them again in the very first lesson. The alphabet is organized according to the place of articulation of the sounds. So the next are the consonants: Kakha, Gagha, Nga, Chacha, Jaja, Nya, Tatha, Dadha, Na, Tatha, Dadha, Na, Papa, Babha, Ma. Then we have semivowels: Yara, Lava. Then we have sibilants: Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha. And then we have two conjuncts, Ksha and Nya, which are pronounced somewhat differently in different parts of South Asia and elsewhere. So learning the alphabet is a crucial part of Sanskrit learning, because the grammar is expressed by analyzing primarily changes in the sounds. And the relationship between changes in the sounds and changes in meaning is very perceptible in Sanskrit, thanks to a clear relationship with its roots, what we call verbal roots or dhatus. We will go through that again. Next, we have our first nominal paradigm of the word Buddha, and this is perhaps the most common type of noun that we are going to encounter. All of these are forms that we actually encounter in speech. They all are traced back to an abstracted form, Buddha, which we encounter only in the vocative here. But all these forms of a single noun is because these different forms give us some information about that the function of that noun in the sentence. So you might think this sounds very difficult, but in fact there are lots of advantages that make for an easier reading in another way. So regarding chanting and memorization, Buddha, 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 He Buddha, He Buddha, He Buddha, Buddham, Buddha, Buddhan, Buddhena, Buddhabhyam, Buddhehi, Buddhaya, Buddhabhyam, Buddhebhyah, Buddhat, Buddhabhyam, Buddhebhyah, Buddhasya, Buddhayoho, Buddhanam, Buddhe, Buddhayoho, Buddheshu. So this is, let's say, a medium speed. In the beginning, you should do it slower, and then when you are exercising more, you should do it faster, as I indicated earlier, meaning you should go as fast as you can. So for these paradigms, I have a suggestion, which is every now and then, if you want, you can test your memorization just occasionally by, for example, first you can focus on the first three, Buddha, 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 He Buddha, 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 Buddham, Buddha, Buddhan. Then the second three, Buddha, Buddhabhyam, Buddhehi, Buddhaya, Buddhabhyam, Buddhebhyaha, Buddhat, Buddhabhyam, Buddhebhyaha, and then the last two, Buddhasya, Buddhayoho, Buddhanam, Buddhe, Buddhayoho, Buddheshu. As you can see, they form clusters which are rather similar sounding. So you can practice the first one for a while, then the second cluster for a while, then the third cluster. Another thing you can do is you can exercise like this, like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, etc. Buddha, 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 Buddhaha, Buddhaha, He Buddha, He Buddha, He Buddhao, He Buddhao, He Buddhaha, He Buddhaha, Buddham, Buddham, Buddhao, Buddhao, Buddhan. That's another way. Or you can jump, so you can do 1, 3, 2, 4, Buddhaha, Buddhaha, Buddhao, He Buddha, in this manner. And also, once you feel that, okay, I know this paradigm, you can try to recite it in inverted order. Buddheshu, Buddhayoho, Buddhe, Buddhanam, Buddhayoho, Buddhasya, etc. These exercises, of course, are without looking at the text. You can do it every now and then. But remember, the basic exercise, the basic daily chant is just to go through it, even while reading, while looking, and to go through it a few times very fast. What I just said applies to the rest as well. The next prajna, 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 etc. is the word prajna, which means wisdom, and it ends in long a rather than in short a, like Buddha. Then we have palampale palani, which means fruit, and this also ends in short a. Buddha is masculine, prajna is feminine, pala is neuter. These are just grammatical gender. It's not necessarily referring to a real gender, if such a thing exists. Then we have the verb, bhavati, bhavataha, bhavanti, and the same principle always applies. This is the verb bo, which means to be or to exist, sometimes even to come into existence or to become. Then we have the short Heart Sutra, Hridaya Sutra, Nama Sarvajñāya Dyavalopiteshvara Bodhisattvo Gambhirayam Pratnya Paramitayam Charyam, etc., etc. So even in the case of a sutra, which is a prose text with sentences of various length, etc., etc., it's good to maintain a certain rhythm. This rhythm we acquire by paying attention to long and short vowels. You see, Aryava Lokiteshvara Bodhisattvo. Remember that A, O, I, O are always long. So in this manner, your chanting will have a kind of natural rhythm. The rhythm will be produced naturally as long as you respect this difference between short and long vowel. Now, I have recorded the chants. I have recorded them rather slowly, having beginners in mind, and you can use that either to chant along or as an initial reference for your pronunciation. But as I said, do not get too stressed if your pronunciation is not so clear in the beginning. It doesn't matter so much. You will get better over the months and years of your learning. Just make sure that you develop a strong mental association between Sanskrit and sounds, and that you develop a good daily habit and that you are consistent with it.